It's great to see you, cuz.
Oh, that's right. We're cousins.
I know.
Yes.
You're my claim to fame. You and Kurt Browning. Our family just keeps expanding.
Well, your family keeps expanding.
Yeah. No,
Right?
you're
Good for
related to
you.
Kurt Browning through marriage as well.
Right? Oh,
Well,
that's good. All right.
I think all Canadians are pretty close, though.
I think all Canadians are related to Kurt Browning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or at least they claim to be when they're in foreign countries.
That's true. Yeah. I
Right?
think
Kurt
everyone loves
Browning and
Kurt
Elvis Stoico.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Were you
Because everybody watches figure skating.
Everyone does. Were you a Kurt fan or an Elvis fan?
Oh, that's, I have to say Elvis.
I
Because-
just told you we were related to Kurt, though.
No, but I did, a long time ago, I did this. Dave Foley and I, well, it was Dave Foley's Christmas special. And I did a bit in there with Elvis Stoico.
That's cool.
And also Elvis is like super karate guy. And I'm worried that if he ever hears this podcast and I didn't say his name, he would hurt me if I ran into him in a bar.
Yeah, mate. You know what? I
Right?
haven't had him on the pod, but I will re-say
Remember
this
that. Put
anecdote. I will.
that in your quiver.
Yeah,
You might need that for later.
My quiver. Listen, I've got to be honest. I'm going to be vulnerable because not many people know this about me. I love acting. I was a huge drama nerd in high school.
Really?
Yeah, and I really debated actually quitting speed skating to focus on drama.
Wow.
But when I was acting, I felt too athletic. And when I was doing sports, I felt too artsy. Did you ever feel that way?
Wow. That's fascinating.
That's my life. I don't know. It's messy, I guess.
Oh, you're a paradox. No. I never, I was never, I mean, I competed in a bunch of sports at a pretty high level, never at your level, but so I never had that problem. No, and when it was time for me to make a choice as to whether to be an athlete or to pursue a career in the arts, it was, my choice was easy.
Yeah.
It was like, I know that's never going to work out for me, so I'm going to go to theater school. I didn't find myself in a really serious conundrum.
But you raced cars.
Oh yeah, but I raced cars later on. Mm-hmm. And I raced cars at a very high level, I wasn't faced I didn't have to make Sophie's choice when I was 15 because I wasn't racing race cars back then.
You raced 6-liter Mustangs?
I raced. I started in rally cars, then I raced pro rally cars, and then I started racing Mustangs for Ford, and I raced GT1 cars, and I finished my career in Indy Lights.
You, Steve McQueen, Frankie Muniz has now really made the transition. He's like a pro.
Yeah.
Like he's a pro racer. What do you think that there's any relationship between acting and
Not
racing?
between me and Frankie Muniz, no.
No.
But I'm kidding. Frankie, I'm sure, is a very nice kid. He's not a kid, he's a man now.
I know.
He's like a 40.
We're all getting older.
He's probably a 45-year-old man. Why would I call him a kid? Anyway, I'm sure he's an awesome guy. What was the question again?
Do you think there's a relationship between racing and actors? Or, you know what, even we can make it broader, sport and actors.
I think that I don't know. I think there are certain actors that are frustrated athletes. I think there are a lot of actors that are frustrated musicians. I think there are a lot of musicians that are frustrated actors. I think you can toss that hat around to a lot of people. I think there are a lot of athletes that are frustrated actors and musicians. It's a lot of people. A lot of people have a lot of dreams that the river of life takes them in a slightly different direction. And then all of a sudden you find yourself with an opportunity to maybe explore that path that you wanted to explore earlier in your life, and you take it. Yeah. No. Because you can.
It is very cool that you had that second career with the racetrack, certainly. I have gripes. So being a speed skater, I see my sport on TV and I think, that doesn't even look like they're going fast. You know,
Right.
NASCAR doesn't look like it's going fast, F1. Right. So put your, director's hat on. How do you capture speed on film? Because it annoys me when it doesn't look like someone's going fast on TV, and they actually are.
Right. Well, the way you capture speed on film is cameras down low and with objects going past the camera. So you have a sense of, so it gives you the sense of speed. Like having a camera down low going fast in a direction, if there's nothing around, doesn't look that fast. So if you're down low, you get the sense of what's going underneath you going fast. But then if there are things going by you, you really get the sense of speed.
That's great. You want to produce some speed skating?
But if you're way up, if you're way up high and you just see things going around like this, even if they're going 100 miles an hour, they don't look like they're going that fast. It's you got to be close to the action. You have to be inside the action. You have to be down low with the action.
I'm just gonna take that clip and send it to all the powers that be that try and capture speed on film. You were down in LA in the 90s.
Yes.
The great one, Wayne 99.
Yeah.
Made Los Angeles the hottest ticket for hockey.
Yes, he did.
What was that like being a Canadian in Hollywood, understanding the game and seeing all these people go, "Oh my gosh, this is a great sport"?
It was, it was really exciting. It was a really exciting time for hockey in Los Angeles. Bruce McDonald making the trade for Wayne Gretzky and bringing Wayne to Los Angeles, and going down to the Forum and going to the Forum Club and seeing all the actors and actresses that were all excited to be at the Forum all of a sudden and see the Kings in their shiny new uniforms instead of those yellow and purple things they used to wear with the crowns on the chest. It was super exciting. And I went down to the games as much as I could. I was I was working pretty hard in the 90s, so I didn't get down to many games, but it was really exciting. Like you could really feel the excitement in the city, especially when the Kings went to the Stanley Cup Finals. It was 93, 92, 93, 94, somewhere in there. No, they didn't go to the finals. They went to the division finals, and they lost to Montreal. And then Montreal went on to the finals. Montreal won the cup that year.
Yeah. Last time a Canadian team has.
That's right. 94. It was 94.
Yeah.
Kurt Muller was the captain, right? It was Mullsy, yeah. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I've heard that there's a real expat kind of population down there that just loves to play beer league hockey. There's just a bunch of Canadians in Hollywood.
Huge expat population in LA. It's about 1 million Canadians live in Los Angeles at last estimate, from what I understand.
Wow.
And it makes it very difficult to find another spot in the pickup league if you ever lose your slot. And a few years ago, I lost my slot because I was on the road so much, shooting Private Eyes, and here in Toronto, shooting Private Eyes. And once I lost it, I called my guy when I got back. He was like, "Yeah, dude, sorry, I had to give your slot away." Never got it back.
Oh, I'm sorry
How about that?
Jeez.
Unbelievable.
I bet.
Thanks, Private Eyes.
Yeah, some bender probably replaced you. I apologize. Okay, let's get to Harold Ballard because the doc is so great. Offside, the Harold Ballard story. I mean, there's so many documentaries coming out about athletes, about sports. Why him?
Well, we felt like Ballard was the perfect subject for a documentary. He was such a larger than life character, but also such a paradox at the same time. He was a confusing subject for a documentary because he did things that were contrary to the things that he said. He acted in ways that were contrary to the ways that you expected him to act. He was notoriously cheap in everything that he did, and yet he gave money to charity like he was printing money in his basement, but didn't want anybody to know about it because he wanted everyone to think he was a hard ass. There were so many paradoxes like that in his life. He was this guy that was born into money and had this sort of very cultured, very cozy sort of upbringing in this family, and went to Upper Canada College, and and yet had this huge chip on his shoulder, seemingly, and like always had something to prove to everybody. There's all this stuff that just doesn't make sense, right? And I tried to figure out, why he was the way he was and why he did the things that he did and why he behaved the way he did. And I got different answers from everybody I talked to. So at the end of the day, I just thought I would lay out the evidence of who he was and what he did and how it ended up, and let the audience figure it out and make their own conclusions.
He's such a dichotomy, and the stories can go on forever and ever. He's infamous. We're all about the Olympics here, of course, at CBC. I connected with one of my producers who had known him, certainly back in the 80s, and he paid his own way to go to the 1928 Olympics as the trainer for the men's hockey team. And he snuck out of the athletes' village at one point, stole an Olympic flag, brought it back to Canada, and had it, ironed on to his comforter, which he used for essentially the rest of his life. And I know, isn't that a wild story? Like a stolen flag, that's what he's sleeping with. Are there other, anecdotes that perhaps people haven't heard that you like to share? That's
amazing. Well, he was the flag bearer for the 1928 Olympic team, but he had to pay his own way to get over there.
That's the chatter in the calf.
That's the chatter in the calf. I love that. That's amazing. I had never heard that. Yeah. Maybe that's the flag that he brought home and ironed it onto his. Wow.
It might be. What? Yeah.
Just another one to add to the. Well, there are we picked up so many anecdotes from people, even as we rolled out the film. We premiered it at the Whistler Film Festival this past December. That's where it had its world premiere, and there was a gentleman in the audience that night who stood up after the film, and he said, "Yeah, I don't have a question. I just, thanks for doing this. This was a really interesting portrayal of Harold, and thanks," or Mr. Ballard, he called him, and he said, I'm really glad that you included all the nice things about him that you did, and you showed people who actually liked him. I have a personal story about Mr. Ballard that I'd like to share, and everybody sort of went, "Oh, okay." And he said, I grew up down the road from the Ballards, and I was friends with one of his sons, and my family fell on hard. I can't remember whether his father passed away or his mother passed away or something. He said, and so when I was in university, I came home from university. I didn't really have anywhere to live. The Ballards took me in, and I lived in their house with them. And Mr. Ballard treated me like one of his own kids, and he paid my way through university so I could get my master's degree. And he set me up for my entire life. Never asked for the money back. Never wanted anything in return. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart, just because I was one of his kids' best friends, and he saw what had happened to my family. He said to me, that's who Harold Ballard was. And so that's and those are the kind of stories that we've been hearing a lot about him. So he really was people. It's really easy to always just look at all the, look at the crazy stuff he said in the press, or, look at these bad things that he did, or look at this one. But he really was a multifaceted human being who obviously had some, obviously had difficulties in his life, and maybe the passing of his wife, Dorothy, had a bigger impact on him emotionally than a lot of people think. All the money that he stole from Maple Leaf Gardens Limited that he was convicted for, he used that money to renovate his house in the West End. Then after his wife died, he never went back to that beautifully renovated house, and he moved into Maple Leaf Gardens. why didn't he ever go back to that house that he'd stolen all? He got caught stealing all his money to make that house the house of his dreams, and he never went back there after his wife died. And he moved into this dark little crappy apartment in Maple Leaf Gardens, like the Phantom of the Opera, and he never left Maple Leaf Gardens after that. Like,
it's complex.
I mean, he would go up to his cottage up in Georgian Bay every once in a while, but he was in the gardens. Like, that was his. There was something driving him that I think that I don't think any of us will ever really understand. And I think it was interesting to try to find out.
You've done a fantastic job in, just showing the dichotomy of Harold Ballard, how complex he was. Just quickly, looking forward, King Clancy, of course, was his right-hand man.
Yeah.
Fun fact, King Clancy's great-granddaughter, Laura Stacey, two-time Olympian for Canada on the women's hockey.
Is she our cousin too?
She's not, but maybe we can convince her. What women's stories would you like to tell in the sports realm, if any, in the future?
Wow. Can I tell yours? I mean, we're family.
Handshake deal, buddy.
Deal.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time so much. And one last question. Do you believe in the Ballard curse? It's been since 1967.
I mean, the quick answer is, of course, 100%. How could you not? But it's, yeah and yes, but it has been 50 years since the Vancouver Canucks won the Stanley Cup too.
We don't talk about that.
No, we don't.
Maybe you should make a documentary. I appreciate your time, buddy. Cuz, that's how I'm going to just always refer to you.
You got it, fam.
Peace.